Tēnā koutou. This is the story of Tarewai. Tarewai lived in the pā on the other side of Harbour Cone, called Potiki. Kati Mamoi lived behind me here in the flat areas, and the people started to go to war. They fought over a fishing ground. Tarewai's people went out fishing one day and they tried to catch fish in their canoe, and they managed to catch nothing. What had happened was the priest, the tohunga from Kati Mamoi, had burnt seaweed and poured it into the ocean, ruining the fishing ground, and the people were angry. The war started, but before it started, Kati Mamoi invited Tarewai and his people over to their village to help build a house. That's called an ohu. A working party comes over and all the villagers work together. Now they had pretended that they were making a big feast. They had carved fish and hung them in the distance, and the people thought they were going to feast on fish together after they had finished building the house. Tarewai and his people travelled, they gathered together and they started to build the house. They worked all day and then they sat down in preparation for the feast. Firstly, the children started playing, and then the parents started playing sports like wrestling, and they thought it was just pretend, but then it got rougher and rougher, and eventually the people of Kati Mamoi leapt on Tarewai and they held him down, 2 people on each arm, 2 people on each leg. They said, "Tarewai, we have you, you are captured." And they got a stone sharpened like a knife, and they started at the top of his chest and slit down to his puku till his insides started to spread out. Tarewai knew he was in trouble, and he relaxed. He pretended that the pain was so great that he had gone unconscious. The people softened their grip, and then Tarewai leapt to his feet, guts hanging out, and he took off. He took off into the bush, across the inlet, all the way to Harbour Cone, which used to be covered in forest. And there was a special cave where the fairies lived, the korako. He hid in the cave, his tummy still hanging out. But he knew a special way to treat himself. He caught some weka and he squeezed the fat out. He lit a fire and he heated some rocks, and he put the rocks onto the wound, and then he rubbed the fat from the birds into his puku. And at night when he slept, the fairies, the korako, come and they healed him. Over time, Tarewai hid in the cave, and every time someone from Kati Mamoi went past, Tarewai leapt out from the cave, captured him and killed him. When Tarewai escaped, he left behind his famous patu, his club, and he decided he would get it back. So when he was fit and healthy again, and the Kati Mamoi people were frightened because Tarewai was killing them one by one, he snuck into their village in the middle of the night. While he was there, he heard the chief holding on to Tarewai's patu and handing it round all the other warriors. Tarewai got closer and closer to the group, and he pretended to copy the voice of one of the chiefs, and he said, "Pass that club to me." Tarewai grabbed the club and he leapt in the air. He says, "Tarewai has his club again, Tarewai the brave," and he took off and he ran to the top of those hills until he could see his pā, and he flashed his patu in the sun, and his people could see him from the pā, and they knew they had to distract the Kati Mamoi, so they started to do a haka. So the Kati Mamoi people couldn't see Tarewai when he ran across Pilot's Beach to get to Potiki. But two old men saw him while he was running, and they chased him. And they nearly had him when he threw his patu up, which had a little bit of string attached to it. He wrapped it around the tree and he pulled himself up. That place was called the Leap of Tarewai. Tarewai got safely back into the pā with his uncles who looked after him, and then they dealt with Kati Māmoe. But that is another story.